Hey everyone, thanks for being here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about some NBA breaking news, and Collin Sexton was just involved in a trade from Utah Jazz to the Charlotte Hornets. And Collin Sexton, a bit of a fan favorite for the Utah Jazz, a spark plug, and one of the more fun, exciting players for the Utah Jazz. And honestly, the Utah Jazz have not been playing competitive basketball much this last season. They were dead last. They were vying for that #1 draft pick. They ended up getting 5th in the draft and drafted Ace Bailey. So a couple of days removed from that, and Jazz are moving on from Collin Sexton in exchange for Jusuf Nurkic, who is coming to Utah. The Jazz are also going to be giving a 2nd-round pick to send Collin Sexton to Charlotte. So initial reaction seems like Charlotte wins this because Sexton is the better player, and they're also receiving a 2nd-round pick. And Sexton's coming off of a pretty good season. He was averaging 18 points a game, had over 40% percentage from three-point land, and their contract, as far as I know, they're pretty similar. So it's not like any salary incentive as far as my initial review of that. So it seems like Charlotte wins this. And so why are the Jazz making this move? Well, I just mentioned about the Utah Jazz drafting Ace Bailey. They have a little bit of a log jam for these guards with Ace Bailey. Well, I guess who isn't necessarily a guard, but they have Sexton, Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, and all trying to vie for those minutes. And maybe the plan is just trying to give Ace Bailey some more opportunities to reach his potential. Also, which I think is really probably the key here, is that Utah Jazz have next year's draft. They have a top protected pick, meaning that they only keep their pick if it falls within the top 8. So they retain a lottery pick if it's top 8, and let's say if they end up winning a lot of games, then they lose that pick to Oklahoma City Thunder, of all teams who just were crowned champions. That's a scary thought. So Utah Jazz maybe are thinking that all their youth they want to develop. If they get rid of some of their veteran players who are good, maybe they can re-tank again this year to retain that top 8 pick. So that might be the motivation here. But with that, just wanting to review a little bit of Collin Sexton. This is one of the cards I have of him. This is a PSA 10, his rookie Panini status, and this is the blue parallel. Good looking card. This is Pop 27. And really have always enjoyed Collin Sexton, and he's been a fun player to watch. Nicknamed Young Bull, one of the things I just, fun story or why I became a Collin Sexton fan is in college, you may remember this, he had this heroic game against Minnesota, and this was in 2017, and Alabama was facing Minnesota, who I think was a pretty good team that year. As far as I know, they were both ranked at the time. And there was a little bit of a fight that broke out, and Alabama, who Collin Sexton played for, all their bench got ejected, and so they had no bench in the game. So just the 5 players on the floor remained in the game. This was about 11 minutes left in the game, and they were down. They were losing that game already. And then as the game went on, 2 of Alabama's players, one got fouled out and one, I believe, got hurt. So for, I want to say like 8 minutes left in the game, Collin Sexton was essentially part of a 3-man team against Minnesota. So 3-on-5, and really Minnesota had their whole bench still. So it was really Minnesota and the whole team. But Collin Sexton in that game went on to score 40 points, and they were really close. They were at one point they were a possession away once or twice in the closing minutes, and Collin Sexton just kept scoring, and you know, with only 3 players, they were guarding him, you know, double teaming him, you know, from the 3-point line, and he was still making things happen. So young bull Collin Sexton, a dynamic player, someone who can score and someone who just plays hard. I always have been a fan of him, and had he won that game against Minnesota with Alabama, that would have been like the greatest win or comeback of probably all time with only 3 players. So this is, you know, why I have this PSA 10 of him as a rookie card that I was able to get. Not necessarily a valuable card, but because of that, just a guy who hustles and plays hard. And that, of course, that legend game from his college days made me a fan. So first reaction here today with the Jazz trading away Collin Sexton. Charlotte certainly is the winner there in my mind. And we'll see what happens with his cards with moving to Charlotte, if this is going to give him more opportunity to shine. They have some new draft picks as well, and maybe Charlotte could be a good team with the addition of Collin Sexton. So breaking news today from the NBA, trade happening, a lot of happening after the NBA draft. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to help this channel, and catch you next time.